Hello and welcome. It's your host here from Vibrations and Manifestations. Today, we're diving into a special explainer that gets to the very heart of who we are. We're going to talk about that eternal connection we share with the people we love, even after they've left the physical world.
So let me just start with a question for you. Have you ever had that feeling? You've lost someone dear to you, but then you feel them. It might be a whisper on the wind, a sudden memory that feels so real. It's that feeling that connection doesn't just end. Well, today we're going to unpack what that's all about.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with that very personal feeling, then we'll zoom out to the bigger, eternal perspective. We're even going to look at some amazing whispers from science that kind of echo these big spiritual ideas. And most importantly, I'll share how you can actually feel that connection for yourself. Then we'll wrap it all up with an invitation to really lean into this truth. Okay, let's jump right in. First, let's just ground this whole conversation in that very real, very human experience, that lingering feeling of love.
Grief is such a powerful, all-consuming thing. But I found in my own life that right underneath that grief, there's often this quiet, steady sense of connection that just hasn't gone away. It's like a song on the radio at the perfect moment, or a thought that pops into your head that sounds exactly like their advice. That's not just you making things up. It's the beginning of understanding something so much deeper.
So let's take that feeling and expand on it. This next part is all about the eternal perspective, seeing ourselves as so much more than just this one lifetime. And this isn't about ignoring grief, not at all. It's about bringing a new layer of peace to it. Okay, so what does it mean to be an eternal being? Well, the core teaching here is that we aren't just these physical bodies with a shelf life. We are, at our core, these incredible streams of consciousness without a beginning or an end. We actually chose to come here, to have this physical adventure, for the fun of it, for the joy, and for the amazing expansion that comes from it all. I absolutely love this quote because it just lets you breathe, right? It just takes so much pressure off. Life isn't some big test you have to ace before time runs out. It's this beautiful, messy, ongoing journey. You can't mess it up because there's no finish line to get to. The journey is the whole point. And this perspective really helps us reframe the one thing that we're so often taught to fear, what we call death. It's not an ending. It's not a light switching off. It's really just a transition. Think of it like walking out of one room and into another, much bigger, much brighter room. It's a release of all the struggle, all the pain, and a return to who you really are. So this is so important to really hear. Your loved ones are not gone. They haven't disappeared into nothingness. They've just shifted their perspective. They've returned to that broader, non-physical energy, and they're vibrating at a frequency of pure love and clarity, totally free from the old limitations. Okay, now for what I think is a super fascinating part. Because what's really wild is how some of the most cutting-edge ideas in science, especially in quantum physics, almost sound like they're describing these same spiritual truths. It's like science and spirit are starting to echo each other. So first up, there's this mind-bending concept called quantum entanglement. Basically, you can have two tiny particles that become linked, and once they're linked, whatever you do to one particle instantly, and I mean instantly, affects the other one, even if they're on opposite sides of the universe. Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. Kind of cool, right? Now, I'm not saying this is proof, but let's just use it as a beautiful metaphor. If these tiny little particles can stay connected across any distance, doesn't that make it a little easier to imagine how the powerful bond of love could also transcend physical space and time? It's just a really powerful idea to play with. And then there's this other wild idea called superposition. At the quantum level, a particle doesn't really exist in one fixed spot. It's more like a cloud of possibilities. It can be here and there and kind of everywhere all at the same time until we look at it. So this gets you thinking, doesn't it? What if we are kind of like that too? What if a part of us is always non-physical, always connected to that bigger stream of consciousness, even while we're here, focused in our physical bodies? It really suggests that the separation we feel might just be an illusion of our five senses. And look, this isn't just coming from us spiritual types. We're talking about Max Planck, the literal founder of quantum theory, a Nobel Prize winner. He said that he believed consciousness was the fundamental thing, and that physical matter actually comes from consciousness. That's a huge statement that flips our whole view of reality on its head.
Okay, so this is all amazing food for thought, but what do we do with it? How can we actually feel this connection in our everyday lives? Well, in this next part, let's get practical and talk about how to tune into that love.
And it's actually much simpler than you might think. You don't need any special powers for this. First, just quiet your mind. Find a moment of stillness. Then, intentionally tune your emotions to feelings of love and appreciation for that person. Just feel the love. Then, just be open. Notice the little signs, the synchronicities. And finally, just talk to them, out loud or in your head. Say hi, share what's going on. They can hear you. And please, remember this. You don't need any fancy tools or complicated rituals. The love you feel in your heart, that's everything you need. That feeling of pure love is the frequency. It's the connection itself. Your heart is the receiver, and it's always on.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. This is really just an invitation to carry this feeling with you, to let it soften your worries and just remind you that you are always held in this eternal embrace. So, at the end of the day, what does this all mean? It means we can let go of so much fear. We can start to trust that this transition we call death isn't a loss to be afraid of, but a beautiful, natural rebalancing. It's a homecoming to our natural state of pure love, joy, and total well-being.
Just let this sink in for a moment. Love never ends. It's the most powerful, fundamental force in the entire universe. And because you are made of that same energy, neither do you. The connection you have with the people you love is literally woven into the fabric of everything. It can't be broken. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it's brought you some comfort, some peace, and maybe a little bit of wonder. If you'd like to go even deeper on this, and I've included a guided meditation to help you connect, I'd love for you to listen to our full episode, Beyond Death, the Science and Spirit of Eternal Life. You are eternal, you are loved, and you are never, ever alone.